crypto airdrops have been making people tens of thousands of dollars. And if you missed out on some of the juicy ones recently, that's all the more reason to really start looking into it right now. And I hope that that's why you're watching this video. Because today, we're going to be talking about some of the most juicy upcoming crypto airdrops and what we got to do to make sure we can get ourselves some free crypto monies. Because if you do not know how this works, there are a lot of crypto protocols, a lot of these crypto platforms that basically want to reward you for being an early adopter. And that's why I often say, what we are witnessing right now has surely happened in the near past for cryptos, but most likely won't be as profitable as it is right now in the near future. I think these next 1 or 2 years are literally going to be the last time where you can make tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars, having very low capital to start off with. Because usually money makes money, but with this airdrop game, what you're basically trying to prove is that you are a genuine user of a platform and they are rewarding you with some tokens for being involved and being around. And now it's coincidental and nice, those tokens also have some real monetary value, which again, at some points, has literally been tens of thousands, with the Arbitrum airdrop being $2 billion worth, Blur 818 million, Celestia 730 million, this was a really juicy one, and then slightly after that, this one is very recently, the Jito $312 million airdrop. And the thing is, this was so easy to get. And I'll be explaining that in another guide. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, I just finished another airdrop guide mostly on the Cosmos ecosystem. Today, we are partially expanding on that by talking about the Injective ecosystem and some of the things you can do to increase your chances of getting a couple hundred, a couple thousand, or tens of thousands of dollars for absolutely free. I'll guide you guys through the steps, but if you really want a extremely simple, very basic guide, I can highly recommend you guys to check out this video because that one is by far the easiest way to qualify for some crypto airdrops. This one, even though I would personally say it's still pretty basic and pretty simple, has more steps to it. So take out some time, make sure you press that like button if you haven't, because this takes a lot of time to put together. And, well, like we saw with this video, make sure you put the notification bell on because the earlier you are, the better your chances to win some money. To expand on that, again, all these things have a window of opportunity. For example, if you did this guy, what I'm about to say right now, a few weeks ago, you would have probably already made a couple hundred, perhaps a couple $1,000s. So it's always worth it to check these videos out as soon as they come out to not miss out. Anyway, it's mostly a 3-step process. And I'll quickly say this for the people that want to move on before diving deeper into everything I'm doing. Stake in Injective, using the Injective mainnet, and using the Injective testnet. All 3 of those things are extremely wise to get started with, to play around with. And at the end of the day, like I always say, you're not really using your money and giving it to somebody. No, you're actually keeping your money for yourself, but interacting with these protocols to get you some sort of yield, which simply put means, for example, either you are lending your money out or you are staking it, interacting with the protocol, which gives you a return for doing so. But at the end of the day, you keep your money, all right? So it's not as if these videos really, or I should say these airdrops, cost you money, perhaps in transaction fees, but hey, that's a few cents. So I'd say let us dive right in with step number 1.1, which is to get yourself the right wallet. Now, to get started, there are 2 options, and they're literally the same. Like a couple of things look different, but the process is the same. And some of the guides you'll find online will use the one, some will use the other. It's all about personal preference, but at the end of the day, you can get to the same result. For this tutorial, I use what's called the Leapfrog wallet. So the link is leapwallet.io, but you'll just find it. You know, just type in Leap Wallet. It's going to look like this, and you just press Get Leap on the top right. You wait for a little second, get yourself either the app on your phone, but I recommend the Chrome extension. It's just slightly easier to do all this because you can literally copy my steps. But if you're on your phone, the process will generally speaking be the same. Once you've got it though, it's going to look like this. A little extension right here that you're going to have to put in a password for, write your keys down, just go through the steps that it says in that app. As you can see, I already have the app open. And of course, it's going to say $0, but for my previous tutorial, I already put some money into it. So if you really want to see me, changing the balance from 0 to something, you can watch this tutorial right here, but I'll do it again. I'll just explain to you guys exactly what to do. But step number 1 is downloading the wallet and just going through the simple steps of create new wallet, create a password, And that's, I think, about it. If you can't figure that stuff out, I do not want to be rude, but then this is going to be a very difficult journey for you. And that's where I, again, would recommend just going for this tutorial, as it's the most basic one I can give you. And I would recommend you to not go further on this tutorial than step 1, because the rest might get too difficult for you. But if you've got the time to figure it out and eventually get through it, you'll be fine. So just keep watching along. And as I've said before, make sure you press that like button, as these videos take a lot of effort. Step number 2 is choose your poison. Choose your crypto exchange. I personally use Bybit. I always keep a link for this down below because you get yourself such juicy deposit bonuses, meaning if you deposit, let's say $100, you get a $500 trade for free with the link down below. But you can also get upwards of $30,000 worth of different trading bonuses. It's just one of the best deals on exchanges that there will ever be, which is why I highly recommend them. Use them all the time, met up with them tons of times in Dubai, everywhere in the world. Amazing peoples. I know I sound a big fan because out of all the crypto exchanges, it's just my personal favorite. But you can't use it in the US, so if you're there, pick a different one, I'd say. Anyway, once you've got money into your account, after you press sign up and you just go perhaps verify your ID to get access, then you press buy crypto, and then fiat deposit if you want to buy it with like a credit card or something. Or if you already got some crypto in there in your account, for example, you go to spot trading. And now comes the interesting part. We had step 1, right? Well, like I was saying, step 1 is the most important, but it's actually subcategorized, where you can do a few things to increase your chances of getting yourself an airdrop by following the process that I'm about to explain to you. This is a little bit more cumbersome, and in about a minute or two, I'll explain a way to circumvent this if you do not want to, which makes it slightly easier. But I'm just thinking this is a way to get yourself access to more chances of the airdrop, so why not explain it too? Again, you can skip this as it's not necessary, but at the end of the day, I think we're all trying to increase our chances of airdrops, so this is what I would personally do if I were you. I'd go over to Bybit if I already had some dollars in there, go to spot, and then type in ATOM. You might be confused as to why ATOM, but that's because it's the main currency that you can switch into things like Injective that we're talking about today. It doesn't really matter. Just go ahead and get yourself some ATOM. I'd say get yourself at least $15 worth. You can always get more, but that's the minimum, I think, to actually go through this whole process and all these steps for it to be worth it. Again, you're not spending that money. You've still got your 1.5 ATOM. Right now, the price per coin is $10, so you get about 1.5. You're not wasting that, but this is just to kind of show you guys around with what to do. It's easy if you have a couple of dollars, but I would personally say always do 100 or so, but hey, that's all up to you. Just keep watching for a bit and you'll understand exactly why I say those numbers. Anyway, once you've bought yourself some ATOM by going to market right here and putting in, for example, let's put $20 and then pressing buy. It's literally as simple as that. I just bought $20 worth of ATOM. Then we have to go to assets right here and press withdraw. And now I want to quickly say that your money might be in a different account. If you, for example, deposit first, it might be in funding or it might be in derivatives. You want to make sure it's in spot. And how you change that around is with this transfer button right here. If you're having an issue and you can't see your money, just press this transfer, try figure it out, you'll figure it out. And now just go to withdraw, type in ATOM. You then, in your wallet, are going to copy this address. So there's a little button that says copy. You press it, click, it says copy address. You go into this wallet address section, you paste it. So this right here should be the exact same, this is really important, as this address right here. And then there's just one option. So you press ATOM, and then you don't need to fill this. So optional, just leave it blank. And with amount, you put whatever amount you want, and then you press submit. So we just got ourselves another $20 into the account. And here's where things get slightly more difficult. And honestly, I don't think you really need to know too much about the details except for how to do it. Just follow exactly what I'll show you. So there's a little button right here. It says Cosmos Hub, Osmosis, Celestia, Injective, Stargaze, whatever. What we're focusing on is Injective. I've already made the tutorial for Cosmos Hub, Osmosis, Celestia, but this is like an expansion on the guide that we did earlier, but the process will be slightly the same. So if we're in a wallet right now, we want to get from ATOM on the Cosmos Hub to Inj or Injective on Injective. How do we do that? Well, go back to Cosmos Hub. You press it. You press this button that says swap. Just click it. It'll lead you to a site that looks like this. And either right here or right there, it's going to say connect wallet. So you just press the button and there might be a pop-up somewhere that says, do you want to connect? So you press yes. I don't know exactly where, but there'll be a pop-up of sorts and you say yes. Then your address that you just withdrew to is going to show up here. And what we're going to do now, right? We keep this on Cosmos Hub Atom because we're going to try swap that for, we'll look through this list and type in Injective. Boom. And we're going to swap that for Injective. How much? Well, that depends on how much you want to do this whole debacle with, but I would say, you know, nearly everything. So let's just do two. Let's just do two for the comparison's sake. And you see it's going to cost us a couple cents to do so, but hey, that's part of the process. You press review. Here you can see what the middle steps are going to be. You might have to click a couple of times, and this whole process should not take more than 1 minute. If it does, you probably failed to press a proceed or some sort of button somewhere. So maybe just scroll around in a sense of look for your different screen or something, because there might be a little pop-up somewhere. Anyway, you press proceed. Then it gives me a pop-up. Like I was saying, you have to choose gas fees. I just go with low, so it's just 1 cent. Then you press approve. And now it's probably like a 30-second wait or so. It depends a little bit. There we go. I'd say it took about 30 seconds. So I press done. And now if I go back into my wallet, hey, you see 20 bucks that I just swapped over are gone. Where are they, you might ask? Well, if you're doing this a lot and you're confused, you can always go to activity and you'll find that this was an IBC send. You sent away to Atom, and if you go to home, press this button right here and go now to Injective, you'll find your Injective right in there. And so step number one now, like we were stating, is go to this stake section right there, press stake, and then look for a juicy one. I personally go with one that has the nearly highest yield. This is the return on your money. So that has a very low fee, if not no fee. This one has a 5% fee, which is not too bad at all. And after scrolling through, I think that's just the best rate we're going to get. I think I will not go with one that has a higher fee than that, but 5% seems pretty juicy in the grand scheme of things. So I'm going to go with this one, Black Panther. And I'm just going to stake 0.1. And honestly, guys, I'd always recommend to go for at least one full one, because that way you might get yourself access to more airdrops, more chances, etc. This is only $4 that I'm doing right now, but that's because I didn't put too much into the account. Myself, personally, I would have at least one coin, which is $40, but hey, sometimes you can't have everything. I then press review. You give it a few seconds after you press the stake button, and that was it. It was very simple. And now you can see it's gone from this balance, but if you go to stake, it'll show up right here. It says we have staked $3.75, and in activity, it also shows up. Sometimes there might be like an error in front of your screen saying, oh, it failed or something. Don't know. Sometimes it says failed, but everything worked. Maybe it's just glitches inside the wallet. I don't know for sure. But, okay, that was step one. And if you've done this, you've done the bare minimum, but the most important steps for getting yourself access to these injective type of airdrops. This is by far the most important step and the minimum you needed to do. Now, we can aid it before we go into step 2 and 3 by doing more of those swaps, playing around with IBC, which I won't show you here now. And, well, what we just did was already swapping from Cosmos to Injective. That counts as an action, which is good. But the reason I said I'll skip over it a little bit later is that there were also a few ways to do this through osmosis, actually, which I described in my previous guide. But now that I'm thinking about it again, I think swapping from Cosmos Hub into Injective like we just did gives you the highest chances of airdrop, so why not just do it the way I just showed you? I think it's the best. Like I said, that's everything for step number 1. But I highly recommend you guys to keep watching because there are more steps, but also, like I said at the start, watch the video once fully through so you understand the different steps that might help you with budgeting, knowing where to place what amount of money of the total that you want to do. Because if you follow this step by step from the start, you might not save enough money for the other steps, or you might be misjudging things. Just watch it all the way through and then make decisions. But now we go into step number 2, and this is where things get slightly more difficult because now we're going to have to go for mainnet interactions. And at the end of the day, what we are trying to do is prove to the network or to whatever programmer is coming on to Injective, making some cool apps, that we are that we are real people using the platform, using Injective, using the mainnet, using the testnet. That's what we're trying to prove. How do we do that? By doing as many actions as possible, making us look like a real person just trying to adapt this technology. Because that makes the chances higher that if you're using some of these protocols that eventually go for some sort of token, that they want to reward you for being part of their community. And again, that has a couple different sides to it. Partially, they're giving this to you to incentivize you to use it, right? Because now there's anticipation where if you use the platform, you might get something, which gives them users. On the opposite side, it's also, if they want their coin to be traded and everything like that, and they don't just want to go through traditional VCs or launchpads to get the people to actually have tokens, giving it to your most loyal community is actually a really nice way to get your tokens out there. Because a lot of those people don't necessarily want to sell it, as they've gotten it for doing or using something that they loved, but you get a healthy ecosystem of a lot of people having your token, knowing about the token, etc. Anyway, so this is DeFi Llama, and if you type in Injective in this top bar, you'll find a couple different protocols. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, Injective is really small. So the potential for airdrops is pretty huge, and I think the next year we're going to see a ton of them. But this list that right now just has 9 will probably have like 40 if you look at this video in a few months from now. And so for right now, 2 interesting ones to take a look at are, for example, Helix or Black Panther. But it's literally as simple as you go to the platform by just pressing Helix, going to the website, and there it says, hey, 𝗏𝗏 is now live on Helix. And since they're giving me a little notice of that, I'm thinking, hey, this is actually something nice to interact with as well. Because if they're telling me about it, yeah, could be something nice and I could just swap it instantly. But let's just go through with the guide. I go to the top right. You can't perfectly see, but it says connect wallet. So I press that. You acknowledge some terms that it's going to ask you. You go through the wallet you have, in this case, 𝗓𝗓 or 𝗕𝗓𝗪, depending on which one you chose. You have to give a little confirmation. You just press connect. And now, boom, we got ourselves in there. And now our goal, literally, is to just play around with everything. That's my opinion, right? Of just doing as much as humanly possible to increase your chances as much to get yourself some sort of airdrop by using these platforms. For example, if I look here in the reward section, this Helix app has some epochs and they give some sort of allocated rewards and they're doing some estimations for it, which of course are pretty normal for exchanges. So it does not necessarily mean they're going to be going for some sort of token, but from our history, it's just pretty likely that eventually this project will also be launching some sort of token. So what I would do is just go on here, and all we had is some Injective. So I'd, for example, change some Injective to, for example, the 𝗏𝗏 we just talked about. What does 𝗏𝗏 do? Don't know, don't care. But first, for example, I can swap to some USDT, just to have something. You press swap. Now, I don't like that they want my location. I'm not a big fan of that, but perhaps that's because these DEXs want to make sure you're not from a certain country. But if this is not something you're comfortable with, skip this platform, go for a different one. But that's mostly just because I had a VPN on and it knew. So again, here we just press approve on this transaction. It probably costs us, as you can see here, parts of a cent, and we go from 0.375, so from 37.5 cents to 37.2 cents or whatever. So I don't care about those problems. We're just swapping cents. It's just to prove a point here. At the end of the day, theoretically speaking, you want to do this with as much money as possible, swapping around, as again, it's going to cost you cents, but it shows the platform that you are a real person really moving money around. But I'd, for example, swap it to some of this, for example. Let's just, we apparently have too little, but you get the picture. You get exactly what I mean. There's a couple other buttons on the top left though, like for example, liquidity. And yeah, this is a little bit more difficult to explain. I think LP rewards is slightly easier because what you're just getting money for then is by providing liquidity to the platform. And if you do not know, this is perhaps not something for you because it takes some time to research. And like I always say, Google is your best friend. What is liquidity providing? What is DeFi? Take a couple hours of your day to research it. It could change your life. But for a tutorial like this that is not gonna be for all sorts of people, I want to make it for just the simplest. It's not smart to talk about this too much because it's going to take another half hour to get people a basic understanding. But for the most part, I just recommend to read into it for a couple hours, depending on how proficient with these things you are. But for all the people that do know how to do this, if you've been into crypto for a couple weeks, you probably know. You might want to play around with it because this might also get you juicy rewards. And vice versa with Black Panther, for example, you can see here it's a yield category. Most likely that means lending and borrowing, perhaps even staking. Well, yeah, we know for sure it's staking because we just staked ourselves some money on Black Panther. They're one of the validators we put some money towards. So you just press launch app, some disclaimers, okay, cool. And again, these are vaults, which at the end of the day are also like providing liquidity, or sometimes that's to do with borrowing and lending. Here you can see, interestingly enough, it uses Helix that we just talked about before. This gives you a very high yield, has $1 million in it, and there are different pros and cons, but you can play around with all these. You have different things you can provide. Again, they've got a little tab for airdrop right there, which shows me, you see, even they read it out loud. They even say it already. We are distributing point tokens on Injective's mainnet to incentivize users' participation. Point tokens will be used to unlock rewards when we launch our Black token, which will allow token holders to earn Black Panther's protocol revenue. So this one is actually confirmed already, I guess, that you are, we got to connect our wallet real quick. We have Leap, that they will reward you for interacting. So I think this might actually just be the Helix DEX integrated, but I'm not so sure. But just make another swap, for example, and if you have to stake, I personally think it might be smart to stake with Black Panther at least a little bit. Always do your own due diligence, perhaps diversify, but enjoy the lowest fees, highest reliability, and earn claim drops when you stake with Black Panther. So it's not that stupid to go to something like the Injective Hub, press connect on the top right there, confirm yet again, connect your wallet yet again. And by the way, don't connect your wallet to every random website. That might cost you money because you might lose it if you're playing around with it and doing something stupid. But the ones you trust, sure. Like I was saying, so another option instead of doing it through the Leap wallet is to do it through here. And for example, it says delegate now, or on the bottom here, you could press delegate to basically hand them some money, but you get a return on it. We have nothing in here that we can delegate, but I think, guys, that it's actually the same way as through the wallet because it comes with the same validator. And I didn't actually stake anything just now, but it shows up here as 0.1. And so here you can see exactly how much we're getting every day, but perhaps the number just doesn't show up because it's so little. But I think that was actually just some sort of glitch because usually, since it does show up here as us having 0.4 to delegate, I'm not so sure why it said 0. But then we can always just do it through the wallet like I showed you at the start. Again, you could, for example, play around with this bridge right there, which for as far as I'm concerned is pretty similar to the swap feature within the wallet. But now you're using the Injective Hub, which again might be a baseline for some sort of airdrop in the future. The thing is, you don't know. So I try to do as many things as possible to increase your chances. And with this one, in comparison to something Ethereum or Solana related, there ain't that many. So if there's an airdrop that includes Injective holders, it's pretty easy to be part of it. Similarly, on the Black Panther side, it says the TFM IBC bridge. I've actually never used that one myself even, so I wouldn't even know. You can use either the Injective bridge or the one in your wallet, but I just play around with everything on this Black Panther website. For example, take a look at this. On the Black Panther one, here, it says deposit. So what I would do is just, a couple dollars, I'd press deposit, see how it goes. I can afford to lose it, I don't mind, and perhaps it's going to get me hundreds of dollars in rewards, so I just want to know more about crypto, play around, interact with as many things as possible to, first of all, understand crypto better, second of all, increase my chances of some sort of airdrop. Oh, I just had to quickly pause the video because it gave me a treasure hunt word, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show it or not, but that's for swapping. I got a treasure hunt word, and I'm just reading around exactly what it means or how it works. But it says right here that there are 12 products to use. Each will give you one word, for example, and the first place wins $5,000. And here are all the different things to use, I guess. So it says Injective Hub, White Whale. Some of these I don't even know. Talus Protocol, yada, yada, yada. At least one of the ones we do not know gives this word. This was just posted 5 days ago, by the way, this campaign is what I just used. So that is Black Panther. Anyway, you understand this world and how much there is to do, how severe it can get, which is why I said it goes from step 1 being extremely simple to step 2 being pretty advanced as the world is open. The world is your playground. Anyway, and step number 3 is interesting, not necessarily difficult, but hard to judge whether or not it will give you chances of the airdrops. In the past, it has often worked, and it's the Injective or, place X there, testnet. A testnet, good and bad parts. The good part being it's free, as it's just testing, so nothing is real. The bad part being nothing is real, but it can give you some easy overview as to how to use all these things in a completely free fashion. And usually it's for builders to know that, they're not playing around with real money, but just test money basically. And you can often get yourself, some free test units, some free test money, and you can also use that to play around with. And sometimes you get rewarded for testing things and for being an early tester, all that type of stuff. But besides the testnet, by the way, there's just one little tip I want to give. There's actually also some nice incentive to bridge around. For example, bridge things from Ethereum over to Injective and vice versa, and to come back every once in a while and redelegate the rewards that you get from staking back into either a new valid or claim them and not just leave them hanging around, as they don't for this one automatically restake. I'd also recommend to join as many Discord servers as possible and organize them neatly, as for these airdrop farm things, you want to join as many as you possibly can. Sometimes there's useful information in them, sometimes there's not, but you'll notice that. Anyway, with regards to testnets, what I recommend you to do is just go to one of the faucets, type in your address. Usually you do not have to connect your wallet to them, you just put your address that you can find right there in there to get placed into a queue to get yourself some free money. And often there are a couple other ways to do it as well in different platforms. For example, here on 𝗵𝗲𝗪𝗓𝗔, another place where you can claim some free testnet tokens. And how you get to testnet, by the way, is you open up your Leap wallet. Here it says network mainnet. You press it and you switch to testnet. And once you do that, give it a few seconds to load on in. As you can see, I got myself 310 tokens in there, which is $11,000. This is not real money. This is just test money that I can go to these websites with, for example, on the Injective testnet hub. And then instead of using real money, I can play around with fake money. So I know exactly how this works. So I know exactly what to do. But once more, it's not real. It's just fun, fake. But in case you don't want to use your own money because you're too afraid or something like that, this might be very useful. But I think the chance of getting airdrop from this are slightly smaller, but it's still definitely worth doing. Anyway, there are a couple other things. For example, there are multiple protocols on testnet that are quite interesting to take a look at. There are some Galaxy campaigns, but again, that's a different video for a different day, as that is a lot of extra steps to explain. But side note, this can also reward you from going through simple tasks, for example. Might be something nice for all of you that are looking for more things to do. If you just have no idea where to start, this might be something nice. You can see hundreds of thousands of people have done it. But anyway, I'll just be making more and more tutorials in due course. So as I keep saying, make sure you've got that notification bell on. You press the like button on this video if you enjoyed it. And it might not be too inclusive. There might be some things I missed. There might be some things I could have explained better. But I'm also just starting, and at the end of the day, it's such an open world. There are so many things you can do where you all don't know the chances as to whether or not it's going to reward you. All these protocols are looking for is, who are my real users? How can I reward them? And sometimes they look for things which you just didn't do or didn't think about. And sometimes it's as simple as, did you just stake $1 worth? If so, bam, you're going to get yourself a few $100. It can be anything. So I always just recommend at least do the staking part. Is just that easy. The rest is up to you, how deep you want to take it. I'm making this tutorial for people that are really interested in this whole airdrop system or want to learn more about crypto. These are some good steps, but at the end of the day, this is just a start to a very big ecosystem. So yeah, that's about it for this tutorial. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video, hopefully somewhere later today.